Welcome to the Knacker Golfers Podcast. I'm coming back from practicing today. I had to get out of the house and not be, glued to my seat watching the Ryder Cup. But I am thankful, I guess, at least they didn't lose as bad as I thought they would. And I thought that, for as much criticism as Keegan Bradley got, it wasn't as bad as it was in Rome 2 years ago. So anyway, I think that the Ryder Cup was really difficult to watch on Saturday, and the New York fans made that known to the world that they are the most entitled sports fans in the whole world because they have everything they possibly could want in their market. They got football, they got baseball, basketball, hockey. And they've had just that whole region of the United States has had so many major championships that they are literally, I don't know, they acted like spoiled children this year at the Ryder Cup, and to have it at Bethpage Black was not the best location, was not the best venue, because the PGA of America cannot get out of their own way and select a venue that will not get rain. And I know that rain is a factor that the players have to deal with, but when the rain makes the golf course easier than it was intended to be, I thought that the choice of venue was not correct. The Europeans at least put it in their system to be able to have a DP World event at whatever venue they're going to have, like they did for Marco Simone, and they had a DP World event there ahead of time, and so players got a chance to see what the venue was like and how it played. And I think that when you do that, you get your team a little bit more ready for playing conditions and what it's like coming down the stretch, kind of thing. There might be people that there probably are people that disagree, and they're like, well, it's golf. They're supposed to just be good at golf all the time. Doesn't matter what venue it is. So I'm of the belief that, the PGA Tour and the PGA of America are running separate ships, and there's not really an intentional sort of thing where they want to get people interested in thinking about the Ryder Cup when they select a venue. What if they had an opportunity to have like a FedEx Cup playoff event at Bethpage before the Ryder Cup? Who knows? They do that. They've done that on the West Coast for Pebble Beach, AT&T Pebble Beach Ampro, and then the U.S. Open in June. They had the Farmers Insurance Open at Torrey Pines, and then they had the U.S. Open there. I don't know what the big deal is. The only difference is the amount of time it takes to get the course ready for the big and bigger events. It's just I don't know. It was so huge. The Ryder Cup was this year, and it was just completely unfathomable. The tickets for that thing. I'm of the belief that I think the tickets were over $300 just to go to the Ryder Cup. You forget going. Would they allow people to come out on a practice day? I don't know. I guess they had all the New York celebrities out there, like Michael Strahan and John McEnroe and Jimmy Fallon or whatever. Good Lord, I don't see myself going to the Olympic Club if they're going to be that much. And that'll be in 18 years. So it's frustrating that the PGA of America has not been back to Northern California. Anyway, I keep going on and on about that. Nobody cares. But the fans were really, really unruly, and they behaved really badly, and it was just awful to see. And the stuff that happened on 15 green with the caddy walking in Justin Rose's line. That was really messed up. And then Bryson, with his hot-headedness, gets involved in that, and then the caddy for Tommy Fleetwood was going to make sure that it didn't get out of hand, and rightfully so. So it was just appalling to watch the New York fans treat the Europeans the way they did, talking in their swing, chastising them when they're hitting shots, yelling stuff when they're in the middle of their backswing. I would have been hauled out of the Pro Course Championship if I did that. There's no way that would have happened. I mean, they had Napa County sheriffs walking with Scotty Scheffler every time. So I don't know. It is what it is, and the talking heads are going to be talking about it from now until maybe they have the next Ryder Cup. So I gotta listen. I gotta listen to No Laying Up, and they're gonna break this down, with a fine-tooth comb, and they're gonna just break it down the way it needs to be broken down, and that's how it's gonna be. So, but on another note, instead of watching golf, I came out to Sacramento National. I hit a medium bucket of balls, and I took a tip from Scotty Scheffler where all he does, before he hits a shot, all he does is he sort of raises the club in his hands and makes sure that his grip is secure, and then he puts the club down and hits a shot. And I did that, and my swing looked really good, and it completely changed the way I swing the club. And then I came over to Ancil Hoffman Golf Course to putt, because the greens in Sacramento area are a bit knackered after being airified. I mean, the practice greens at Sacramento National were pretty knackered, but then I came over to Ancil Hoffman, and there's one green that's down by the first tee that's really knackered, really fresh, and then the green that was next to the bar, or to the bar, was really was not in the best shape. But I mean, it's the end of the weekend. It hasn't been mowed. The cups weren't changed. People had been chipping balls on it. It wasn't in the best shape, but it was better than the other green. I made a video on there. I did get a putter this week. I got a new to me putter. It's called the Ping BZ8, and I think I was practicing with it. It's a pretty good putter, and it's a rare putter because it's one of those BZ putters with the curl shaft at the bottom of the shaft where it connects to the head, and there's better feel with it because the feel isn't really interrupted by the plumber's neck that you get on the Answer 2, and the head is also stainless steel. So that's a big deal to have a good feel with a stainless steel Ping putter, because usually when I hit putts with those usually run off the green. It's so weird. So anyway, had a good time doing that. It was a little bit cooler this weekend. It's in the low 70s right now, and I'm just driving home, and No Laying Up is still on. They're still doing their YouTube show. So they may have been on for 3 hours as far as I know, because it ended a little before 3 o'clock Pacific time, and it's close to 6 o'clock now. So anyway, I'm sad that the Americans lost, but I think as far as it looked on Saturday, the team did not. I mean, they didn't have to act as a team today because they were doing singles matches, and they were able to overcome the horrendous sort of trailing of the Europeans that happened yesterday. And they only lost by 2 strokes or 2 points, whatever you want to call it. But I mean, they still lost, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been. So anyway, there's the talk now of who's going to be the captain, and I'm thinking that Tiger wants no part of this, just because of the PGA of America's involvement in it. I just think that Tiger wants no part of it. And then you got older golfers or older professionals that are not playing as much anymore. Which one of those guys could possibly be a captain? I'm thinking Webb Simpson might be a good candidate for that. But then you got the Michael Jordan effect. Why not make Michael Jordan the captain? That guy could whip those guys into shape. He could really make it, a team effort, and he could those guys and put them in the right mindset. I mean, he would really kick ass doing that. I really think he would. And so, thinking about that would be so unbelievable to have Michael Jordan as the captain of the Ryder Cup. I mean, why not? And then the Europeans could do whatever they want to do. They could put Messi in charge of it or whatever. I mean, who knows? There's a lot. I mean, no laying up's talking about having a lost generation of talent or of golfers that will not take the lead and do this stuff. But it's like, where else can you go if Tiger's not going to do it? Because I have a feeling he just wants no part of it. So, all right, I think that's about it. I've been blowing off a lot of steam this weekend about it, and to finally have something, to put out there, I think that it's sad that they lost. It was the wrong golf course, and you got to think also that when you have football going on in America, they're not going to be able to pick anything on the West Coast. They're just not going to. They say they're going to have the Ryder Cup at the Olympic Club in, 2033? And I hope to be able to be around to see that. But I think in the grand scheme of things, when you're talking about TV stuff and broadcasting and, by that time, it'll probably be pay-per-view for everything. So you'll have to watch it on a pay-per-view basis, and it won't be on Rabbiters TV at all. So just like the way they have it in Europe, you have to pay money to watch the British Open on TV when it used to be on the BBC. So that's kind of the way it's going. So, all right, I think that, so that's about it. So it's a shame that it rained at Bethpage, and it sort of set the tone for how the course was going to play this weekend, and it just wasn't in the cards for the Americans, so it just wasn't going to happen. All right, so anyway, that's about it. Thanks so much for listening. This is the Knacker Golfers Podcast on the Observant Ear Radio Network.